Welcome back, Wieners. I want to start off today's video by saying I hope you guys are staying warm and staying safe. I'm getting a lot of texts and calls from people back home in North Texas, a lot of busted pipes, a lot of people without power. It is getting better, but today I think is like the last really cold day in Texas, and it's actually warmer up here in Camp Claw than it is back in my home right outside of Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is crazy and also scary to think. So I just want to say I'm praying, I'm thinking of all you guys who are affected of this. I know a lot of people were saying, well, you know, why don't they just plow their snow, or why don't they just turn their heat? Like, the thing is Texas isn't prepared. The southern states aren't prepared for this kind of stuff. This is like a once in a every 30-year type event. I guess I've been a little bit, you know, ignorant to it, because up here this is normal. You just put salt in the roads, you just plow stuff, but it sounds like it's been less than ideal down south. That all set aside, I'm excited to tell you guys that we are filming a Camp Claw video today. Figured we'd take a mental health day and not kill ourselves out in the ice and try to catch some fish that don't want to bite. Today's beautiful, there's no wind, it's 26 degrees. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the pond. As you guys probably saw in one of our most recent videos, we cannot locate the 105 trout that we stocked last year in 2020. Couldn't find any of the trout, couldn't find any of the small that were in there. I have reason to believe that they somehow either got all eaten by like a savage heron, or when the water rose, they made their way into the outflow and into a ditch, and then probably got eaten by a raccoon or heron. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fix that problem today. It's less than ideal because there's probably about a foot of ice on the pond, on the Guggen Lagoon, but we are gonna figure out a way to fix that in case if there are any fish left over, you know, they're not gonna get sucked down to that outflow. But anyway, I'll meet you guys down there and let's see if we can make it happen. You may not be able to tell, but this is the Guggen Lagoon. It's covered in snow. Like I said, what was it, the first time we came here, or was it when we came back? It was the first time we came here we tried to fish it. So we might try to drop some lines in. I have reason to believe there's gotta be at least one fish in this pond. There's no way that 105 plus a smallmouth all went through the outflow, but we are gonna have to fix that problem today. Probably should have fixed it when it was open water, but I like to make things difficult for myself, you know? Okay. A few different ways we can skin a cat. Got a spud bar, I've got an auger, and I've got a shovel. We're gonna have to literally cut through the ice, remove the ice, and then go to like Tractor Supply and grab some mesh. Don't you think I probably should have done this when the water was open?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's gonna make for an interesting video. There is the outflow. That's, I think, the culprit for why I don't have any fish in this pond anymore. Now, you gotta see how much ice we have. I normally would just use my auger, but for the sake of my blade and not destroying it, I don't want to drill all the way down and have it be too shallow and then bust my blade tips. So I'm gonna use the spud bar, which is pretty effective. There's a little bit of water still in the outflow. Like, literally fish could still be finding their way into that spot, which sucks. But what's good is I'll have enough water and enough space to put in my
meshing,
yeah,
fence.
Basically put in a guard for the outflow. Yeah, fish fence. Building a fish fence in my backyard pond. Okay, so we're getting somewhere here. Just trying to find out where this pipe is on the bottom. I don't know we're not sure if we want to do somehow hammer in some spikes on either end or put like an actual screen right around it, but we have a few different options. First, we just gotta get this thing cleared out. So we've got a clear exit point. We know exactly where to stop these fish from leaving and escaping the Guggen Lagoon. Looks pretty dusty though. This water looks foul. Looks like some of that dookie water. I also too, while we are messing around with this, want to set up some rods, just in the off chance we might get some to eat. My goal, ever since I bought this camp, is to catch a fish through the ice in my backyard. That'd be such a cool accomplishment. There's just not that many fish in the pond yet, and Maine has got such strict stocking rules. I applied for so many different species. The only one I got was brook trout. Of course, it's native. I think literally anyone could apply for a brook trout stocking permit, and they'd get it. Ugh. Okay, well, let me just work on this a little bit longer, and we'll head on over to get the mesh. Before we head to Tractor Supply and grab the meshing for the fish store, or the fish gate, I figured we would set this thing under the ice. A lot of people in Maine will trap little minnows on the ice. It's a really efficient way to get bait this time of year if you can't find exactly what you're looking for, or the specific type of bait that meets your needs. So I'm gonna grab some of Lucky's food, and we're gonna set this while we head out and go into town. Here we go, we got our minnow trap. This is the same one we got in summertime. This is my favorite type of minnow trap. If I can open it up, then I'll set it with some food. Got some of Lucky's prime wiener dog food. This is the best. This is prime rib for minnows. Take some of that. This will give us something to do while we're building that fish gate. Keep us busy, you know? Like I said, today was a chill day at Camp Claw, so we figured we'd make the most out of it. You guys seem to like this content too, where we just kind of hang around, do Camp Claw things, chores, things that need to get done, chop trees down, feed little minnows. What's cool is if we do get some good minnows, we can use them as bait if we go fishing tomorrow. It should be enough line. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, sweet.
Looks like a bowling ball.
Truthfully, I've never trapped fish under the ice. What my approach is gonna be is I drilled 3 holes with an 8-inch auger. And now I'm gonna take my trusty, dusty, I think it's a Swedish ice saw. I love this thing, it feels so badass when I wield it. And we're just gonna cut around some of those skinny parts where I just drilled, thus giving us enough room to put our trap in the water. That is a lot of ice on the pond. Jesus, it's been that cold here. You can see all the layers in which it's frozen throughout the different nights. This was the first layer where it like rained and got all slushy, which is right like this, and then this is some of the cleaner ice. Actually, that's the later layer where it rained and got all slushy, and then this is the cleaner stuff. There we have it. You got a little hole to put. It looks like Mickey Mouse. It's pretty sick. Let's put the trap down the hole. Yeah, that's plenty of room. Down you go. I guess technically if I do get like a ton of minnows, this will be the most fish I've ever caught on one rod, technically. That kind of was a Maine state record. 100 golden shiners on one setup. Now set in the hole, maybe we get some minnows, maybe we get some little brook trout. I don't know, those brook trout are definitely small enough to make their way through that little crevice in the trap. But again, that's if they're still here. One of the reasons why we're working on the outflow is because I reckon they probably ended up in a ditch and somewhere in a heron's mouth or in the claws of a raccoon. TSC. Time to get some mesh for our fish barrier. Where's my mask? There you go. Let's go. Something like these as the post, and then you stretch out the mesh in between. Might be good, but let's keep looking. This would be good. Yeah. Poultry wire for your chicken. Or in this case, it's for our bass. But that's loud. We want small diameter mesh, and we can go plastic or we can go metal. Let's go with this one. I like this one. And they've got like actual posts too, so probably gonna grab a few of these. I thought I lost you. I was like, where'd Alex go? You made it out here sneakier than I thought. Take a look at what we got here at Tractor Supply. Got a few different options, a few different things we can do. 2 different types of posts. One that's actually meant for chicken wire, and this is just a piece of rebar. I think that's what it's called. We got a post driver. Big and yellow, just like my gloves. I don't know how much this was, but it's gonna be perfect for getting through that frozen ground. Just drive it right into the soil, the frozen soil. We got a hammer too, just in case we needed to pop it in there a few extra times, give it a little angst. 175-pound cable ties, really strong stuff. 170, oh, it's actually 120-pound. I can't do math. 120-pound cable ties. There's some chicken wire. This is gonna be perfect for deterring anything from escaping out of our Googling Lagoon once again. Alex actually came up with the idea of putting one layer and then another layer behind that, so nothing, and I mean nothing, not even a little tiny golden shiner escapes the pond. I think that's probably what we're gonna do. We got all the goods, got all the materials. Let's head back to Googling Lagoon and get to work on this project. Well, we were gonna meet you guys back at Camp Claw, but somewhere I have keys in my pocket. Oh, is this them? Found them. Okay, I was wondering why the hell the thing was beeping. Well, we said we were gonna meet you guys back at Camp Claw, but we realized we had to get some bait because I do want to set some rods out. I refuse to believe that nothing's gonna eat in the pond, so we're at, well, you know where we're at, Beach Grove, and we're gonna go grab some little tiny minnows, set them in the pond as we mess around with this this fish berry, and we might get lucky. Maybe today's the day. There, that little sign, right on the same road where we get the bait, there's a sign that says John B. Keep Fish, hashtag KFNS, which is Keep Fishing Never Stop. That's so sick. First time I've seen that in Maine. Shout out to whoever put that sign up. That's sweet. I appreciate the love. That's hysterical. We're back in business. Figured, how long have I been sitting for? An hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. The minnow trap's been sitting in there. I've never tried to catch the minnows in the Googling Lagoon when there's a foot of ice on top of the water, but we may have something here, I don't know. At the very least, we've got some bait to use to try to catch. Oh my God, look at, it's a trout! Alex, it's a trout. Did you see that?
It's still sitting there.
It's still sitting there. No way. So we do have trout still in the pond. I was like, why is there a fish on top of the ice? Dude, that is insane.
We need to make the sight hole.
We do, we need to make a sight hole. He was like that big too.
He was 6 inches all day.
That's so crazy. Well, we have good news. There actually still is trout in here. I didn't think that's how we'd find one. He was on top of the ice. He was literally right there. I've never seen any fish do that. All right, let's check our minnow trap at the very least. Doesn't look like we have anything. Maybe we'll set that back down there. Maybe didn't let it sit long enough, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking that it probably just didn't sit long enough.
Also too, wait a minute. Oh.
Yeah, you need to
fix that.
Fix that.
Good news is we literally just saw a trout on top of the ice. I can't get over how crazy that is.
Well, you just chummed. Let's be honest, right? Yeah, like that dry food just chummed a lot of the fish, and there's a reason why he came up.
That is such good news, though. Our trout skis are not all deceased. I also noticed there were some water bugs just under the ice too. That may be what they're eating as well. So now that I know that there's some fish in the pond, which is great news, I'm gonna set up a few dead stick rods, some auto rods with some minnows on there, and hope that maybe some of these trout or a smallmouth or whatever else lives in the pond eats while we're building our fish barrier, our fish barricade. That's made my whole day though. I've just never seen any fish like sit on top of the ice. The pressure is super high today. It's actually kind of warm. So the snow is melting beneath, or actually the ice is kind of melting beneath the snow. So that's why there's all this slush around here too. And whenever the pressure's high, it gets the fish a little antsy. So might be why that fish was just chilling right there. Alrighty. Wow. It's crazy how much snow is on the Googling Lagoon, because all the lakes we fished, there's hardly been any snow. This has been a very dry winter. It's also been warmer than usual too, so everything melts as soon as it hits the ground. But here on the pond, there's plenty of snow. That should be good enough. 100%. Alex brought up the idea of using the AquaView, which we used on the smallmouth a few days ago, and just dipping it in and see if we can see anything. The water is kind of dirty, but also kind of clear in this pond. But we should still have enough sunlight to really see what's going on. I'm gonna grab that thing right now. All right, let's see what we can see. There's the trout. That's kind of cool. Well, there's some stones down there. I don't know if those are the ones we put. That's sick. So it's a lot cleaner than I thought, especially this time of year with it being so cold. You could probably see more this time of year than you normally would be able to. I think I'm just gonna let this thing sit here and we can get some cool underwater footage of potentially anything that swims through. That was kind of the goal for coming back here, is to seeing if there's anything still thriving in the pond. We did see one trout out of 100. It's not the best indication that there's a ton of fish left in the pond, but it is something. Whoa, 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 there's a trout right under the ice. Right now, two trout under the ice. There, like,
yeah, I can see him.
See him?
Oh, look at that. You can see all the details on him. Look,
wow.
Wow.
Whoa. There's 3. Look at them. They're right under the ice. Oh my God. They got pretty big. Good news. Brook trout. At least some of them are still in the pond. With that in mind, I noticed when I stuck the camera in the water, the 3 brook trout that I saw were right under the ice. I think the first time we fished here, we were doing it all wrong. We were down deep. I was thinking that maybe if it's cold, it's not a very deep pond, they got to be on the bottom, but I keep forgetting brook trout love the cold, so they're hanging around the ice. They're thriving right below there. I'm gonna re-rig some of these rods with some smaller hooks. That right there is probably too big of a hook, but we're still gonna try to make it work.
What knot do you normally tie?
Oh, I'm lazy. I always tie a little Palomar for literally every species. It's not good. Don't do that. It wastes a lot of line, and even though it's a really strong and easy knot to tie, there's better ones out there. Loop knot's good for different types of lures. I just tie Palomar, like literally Palomar. Or there's like a big game knot too, which is like you take a loop and you wrap it twice and then you pull it through. That knot is extremely strong too. I use that on giant trevally or big saltwater species. But yeah, Palomar, because these fish are so big and they're ferocious. 6 inches, you know, don't let that fool you. Like I always say, size doesn't matter. It's all about the pull. So Alex just told me a lot of you guys have been asking what rig up I use on autos. It always varies depending on what we're fishing for. Pike is obviously gonna be beefier gear, heavier rods, but this is my general auto setup for anything from like perch, crappie, largemouth, smallmouth, even trout, white perch, all that. This is the setup. I'm using like either a 500 or a 1000 size spinning reel, which is generally smaller. This is a 500. I like shorter rods because too long of a rod's not gonna bend correctly into the into that little tip holder. Too short is not good, but also too long is not the answer. Main line is gonna be braid, but then I spool probably about 20 to 30 yards of mono. I like fluorocarbon, but mono is stretchy. And sometimes on a heavier snap of the rod, or if it's a bigger fish, you want a little bit of stretch and a little bit of give if the fish is gonna pull, and that way you're not gonna snap your line. So 6 pound, just straight up trilene, the cheapest mono you can find. It's good stuff, but it's also really reliable. Most of the time I'm fishing an octopus hook, so it gets them right to the roof of the mouth and they don't swallow it. And a few split shot weights here in Maine, it's technically illegal to use lead, so these are tin weights. Today we're using a light one because we don't need to get that deep and we're just getting under the ice. The weight's nice because it keeps the minnow in line to the hole. You don't want a minnow that's doing giant circles around the hole. And yeah, a bobber. You want a bobber pretty much in between the first and second guide, or I guess 4th and 3rd guide closest to the reel. And when a fish bites it, it'll pull that bobber all the way up and your rod will snap and ultimately set the hook. A lot of good companies out there. This is my general setup. You can get away with catching fish on something like this. Actually, the only pike we caught on a rod this year was on 6 pound test. So it's not the 100% best way to do it, but it's just how I do it. And Alex was saying you guys were asking. So there you have it. First rig ready to go. I'm gonna grab the smallest minnow I can find. Today, we're using little fatheads because they're so lively. A little brook trout should be able to smash that. I'm literally swimming right next to my hole. This is nuts. All it takes is a fish just to knock this for that auto to go off right now. Oh my God.
You can kind of see
He
him.
just grabbed the air. He just grabbed the air. he goes. That's the fish. He looks like he grew maybe about an inch. So this has got my brain spinning right now. We've seen a little over, like, I think 3 or 4 brook trout. They've grown maybe about an inch. At least that one definitely looked bigger than when we stocked them. It would be cool if tomorrow we came out here, caught a huge sight hole, cleared off the ice, and kind of entice these fish to come up through our little our sight hole, because I think they're coming up either for oxygen or if it might be sunlight. I don't know. Today's like a weird high pressure day, so these fish are definitely acting funny. I've never in my entire life seen a fish come up through a hole and then onto the ice voluntarily, and that's the second time that's happened. All we need now is to catch one. That'd be pretty sweet. Even though they're little, they're definitely catchable. I just called my good buddy Alex Perrick, who has been literally sweeping the nation with his most viral interview with BBC Network.
How's it going? Yes, it's been insane. We have had below freezing temperatures now for 4 straight days.
And you've caught a fish live on BBC News. There it is.
We have a fish on BBC News. Yes!
Where he was ice fishing in Texas, which is insane. He's on 4 inches of ice, kind of where I live. And he caught a bass in Texas through the ice live. Hey, just for the sake of my video, can you just show the people what you're doing right now?
I'm currently ice fishing the 10-pounder lake.
By yourself, that's risky. Don't fall through.
I know. I feel really dumb, but I've already gone through so many times that I just, like, as long as you don't panic, you'll be fine.
Hey, you know how to breaststroke through slush, don't you? You should be cool. So we're ice fishing in Maine, he's ice fishing in Texas. The world is about to end. I mean, I don't know what else could happen in 2021 to really make this seem like 2020. Anyway, I got all the gear. We got our post jar, we got our post, we got our chicken wire. I realized that we forgot wire cutters, but thankfully I do have a pair at the shed. So we're gonna get to working on the outflow to ensure that no trout escape in the future. And then if we're lucky, maybe a rod will go off and maybe we'll catch a fish. Fingers crossed, we know they're down there. Huh. That was like chocolate milk earlier. I've never used one of these before. Well, okay. Hey, look. My post driver matches my gloves. One more. Right now, I know this looks so stupid. There's 100 better ways to do this, but given the circumstances, this is gonna work for now, because I'm not gonna be here in the spring, and this will at least keep some of the bigger trout, some of the bigger fish from coming down here. I mean, small minnows for sure are gonna get washed down to this, but it's a temporary solution until we come back here in early summer, late spring. All this just for these little trout. The things I do for micro trout. Wow, this is some of the heaviest zip ties I've ever used in my entire life.
You did go 120 pounds.
I've never used 120 pound zip ties. There we go. All it took was some chicken wire, some zip ties, and some rebar to build the outflow barrier. I should have done this like a year ago, but now that I've got these beautiful little precious brook trout, I want to keep them safe. This is just a start. I know it may not look like much, but it's gonna help a lot, especially when the water comes up even just a little bit. It's good to know that all the trout aren't completely dead. We did see some today, obviously, but this will keep at least some of the future bigger fish in this pond from escaping to their imminent death, to the grasp of a raccoon or a big blue heron. Pretty cheap little project, didn't cost much. You can do something like this at your little local pond, and I highly suggest it because, you know, these big rains, even up north, come unexpected, and we had some serious rains this year, so I was very afraid that we lost some fish, but it's good to know that not all hope is lost. Pretty sweet, nice, looks cool. Getting our fish trap out of the water. I don't think we caught anything, which is kind of a surprise. Kind of a bummer, kind of a surprise, but we had to try it. Yeah, we can't even trap fish in the frozen pond. Get over here. Not a single piece of bait. What a disappointment. Sad, sad day. Sad freaking day. Well, we know they're down there, we just can't catch them. I didn't even see any minnows on the camera either. It's so weird. We did record for quite some time, so maybe a random fish swam through, big smallmouth. I don't know what the hell these big smallmouth are doing, but they have to be down here. It's crazy stuff. This pond is such a mystery to me. I don't get it. Well, wieners, we accomplished something today. We have found out that the trout have survived. They live on. I'm so happy that all the smallmouth and all the rain didn't rid my pond of my beautiful, precious trout. Tomorrow's objective is to catch those trout. We failed on doing so today, but tomorrow, Alex and I have a very good plan. Before we close out today's video, I want to show you guys an update on the barn. I want to try to keep you updated as much as I possibly can. This is, I think, day number 18 or 19 of the barn build, not including the concrete, so I'm going to show you guys what we got new. You guys saw this big doorway. This is going to be a sliding door that goes up. This is something I didn't really mention the first time we walked the barn, but this is the loft area. This is not only going to be a place for tools, for gear, for rods, reels, boats, and side-by-sides, but it's going to be a place where guests can also sleep and live. So check this out. They just built the stairs today, and they put flooring down. Wow, dude. A lot of space up here. So essentially, you would call this a barndominium for the most part. They put this loft up in like literally a day. This is really going to open up some opportunities for this barn because it now serves a dual purpose. I can have guests, I can have Guggen stay here when the cabin is kind of overflowing. You could probably comfortably fit 5 to 6 people in the camp, but up here you can fit an extra 2 or 3. This could be just like even a game room too. We don't have to make this a place for anglers to sleep, outdoorsmen to sleep, but just a spot away from the actual cabin where we can do stuff and get stuff done. I'm so excited about this. Wow. Again, I know it's hard to tell just at first glance, but once this thing is 100%, it's gonna look cool. Unreal, man. Oh, they went to work today. Well, wieners, that's gonna conclude today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Just another day here at camp. It was chill, it was laid back, but it was a lot of fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed some of the antics that that went on today at Camp Claw. Be sure to check out the next video because it's gonna be basically like a 2-part little series where we found the fish, now we're gonna catch them. But anyway, we're signing out. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And as always, folks, keep fishing, never stop.